Apparently, it's all coming down to money. The 2008 presidential race is shaping up to be so expensive, some potential candidates might get priced out of it. It's predicted the combined campaigns are going to cost at least $1 billion. Hard to believe, huh? For more on this, let's bring back Democratic strategist Ari Melber and former White House Deputy Press Secretary Trent Duffy. So, Ari, it's expected that a major party candidate is going to need to raise at least $500 million to be any kind of serious candidate in 2008. So which Democrats come to mind that you think will be able to raise that much cash?
The front runners like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and John Edwards are going to be able to raise this money. But regardless of where you are in the political spectrum, it's bad for democracy that we have campaigns costing this much. And I think when you go out and you talk to Americans, they don't want the campaign to depend on the highest bidder. Ari,
are there some people that you think will be priced out? Any Democrats you think there's no way they can raise that kind of cash?
Sure. I mean, there are people who are
like
just...
Who?
Well, you don't know yet, but there are people who are introducing themselves. The people who are lower in the polls right now, like Senator Dodd or Congressman Kucinich, are going to have a real hard time raising that money, and that doesn't mean that they're not good candidates.
We're looking at John Edwards right now on video. Can he raise that much cash?
I think any of these well-known candidates that I mentioned, including Senator Edwards, are going to have an easier time. But it shouldn't depend on just fundraising.
Let's look at the Republicans, Trent. John McCain and Rudy Giuliani. Are those two going to be entrenched in a big old battle to try and raise that kind of money?
Well, I think they will be able to raise that kind of money, and I think money's a form of support. I mean, it's a form of democracy, so you got to take all this in context. We spent $10 billion on video games last year. We spent $15 billion on footwear and sneakers. We spent $36 billion on our pets. Now, people like their pets more than they like politicians, but, you know, picking the President of the United States every 4 years, that doesn't seem like a lot of money. So it's a form of support. It's a form of democracy, and I would just like to note that this is after a campaign finance reform of a few years ago.
Right, but Trent, you know, to whom do you appeal? Where are you getting all the numerous donors that are going to be able to get that kind of money out there? And are you going to have to dip into the same well twice? Are people going to be able to do that?
Well, I think what you saw in the 2004 and the 2006 elections was a lot of small donors really coming out. I mean, that's what the Howard Dean fundraising machine was built on. A lot of part, George Bush got a lot of donations from small donors. These aren't the Hollywood moguls that you think of writing these gazillion-dollar checks. These are people spending $10, $15, $20, and that's really where the real money comes from, and that's a form of support. It's a form of speech.
And Ari, it's expected candidates are going to ultimately decline some of the federal campaign funds. Does that bother you? Do you get concerned it's just going to be this open-ended, free-for-all spending bonanza?
Yeah, that's the big problem. The campaign finance system is broken down, starting with President Bush, but then also John Kerry and Howard Dean opted out of the primary limits. And that is their right, that's their freedom, but it does mean that the voluntary system that was passed in the reforms of Watergate that Americans were strongly behind is now really no longer relevant, at least in the primaries and probably in the general election. It's not a party problem. This is a problem for democracy.
Okay, I want to thank you both, Ari Melber, Trent Duffy, for weighing in.
Thank you, Alex.
Trying to get home for the holidays? Hey, good luck with that.